Hello, hello, my friends. It's me, KP, and I'm here this evening for ArtFoamies Fun Friday. I hope you're all here for the same reason. Oh my gosh, it is great to see you. I don't know how many of you realize or know this, but I have been taking the week off. And what I mean by that, I really haven't been taking the week off, but I have not been live streaming this week. Normally, I live stream every day, 5 days a week in my Patreon, which I love. We do daily heart. Most all of you do know that, but I just needed a little time to try to, I don't even know what. I was going to take a vacation, then I ended up not taking vacation. So I have to be honest, this week I just feel like something's missing. I'm sure you all know that feeling. But anyway, so although it's been quite a staycation, it went by really quickly and we have been very busy, which is great, not a complaint. But I don't, again, know how many of you know that we had the Megan Quinlan's pop-up shop last week, and it was just a huge success. We did have some people that were quite upset that they did not get to order, and also I made a mistake and cut off the sale a little bit earlier than I had said. So with that being said, we revisited with Megan and we are opening her shop back up for the weekend, just to give anybody a chance that missed out to go ahead and order. Okay. So Megan Quinlan's pop-up shop is back open through Sunday morning at 10 a.m. I believe. Okay. Maxie Moon is in charge of that, but I think it's in the newsletter. So please make sure you're signed up for our newsletter. And I'm very excited actually, because I wanted a chance to be able to play with Megan's stamps some more myself. And also she sent me some of her stencils. So I'm very excited about that. So I want to stop for a minute and just say hello to everybody. I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to have a little bit of ArtFoamies fun, right? That's why we're here to start our weekend with some makeys. Anita is here. Welcome. Thanks for being here. You get a gold star tonight. Ellen B is here. Nancy Gray. So nice to see you. Maria Starr is here. Who else? Megan Lochner. Thanks for coming. Renee is here. Yeah. Oh, is it St. Patrick's Day? Oh my goodness. No, is that tomorrow, right? Yeah. Wendy is here. Thanks for coming. Creative Soul. Nice to see you. I know I've missed everybody. This week has been so quiet. And we're over here trying to get caught up. You know how that is. Yes, it has been a long, quiet week. So I'm back. And tomorrow, for those of you who are my patrons again, and I'm sorry this sometimes gets a little bit mixed up, but if you are a Moonie, tomorrow we are having Super Sculpey Saturday. So if you're not a Moonie, join up and you can have some fun with us for Super Sculpey Saturday. You know that oftentimes we just do makeys. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with ArtFoamies over there in my Patreon. We do a lot of ArtFoamies stuff, right? But it's not all about the foamies. If that, huh. Yes. So what else? Sue, hi, welcome. Eileen is here. Maxie Moon is here. Heather Bailey, Kathy Whitney, Ginger, AG, Amy, nice to see you. D Keels from East Texas is here. Wow, we have a great group. Thanks for coming. And, let's go ahead and turn the camera around. You don't need to see my face, although I do have cute new earrings. This is a fun thing. I did get a chance to see an old friend of mine I have not seen in so many years, and she's been a good friend for 20 years. But you know how it is. Sometimes you lose touch or you just get busy and time flies by. And so I haven't seen her in a few years. And she called me out of the blue, and she was going to be in my neighborhood-ish. So I went to see her, and she sells jewelry. And I bought these earrings from her, and it was so good to see her. So... No, how do you know I'm not wearing green? Look, I got green on my socks. D. But I didn't realize, I have to admit, I didn't realize it was St. Patrick's Day. For some reason, I thought it was tomorrow. But I'm running a day behind, I guess, because I've been off all week. Anne Conaway, thank you so much for coming. Anne sent me the most beautiful Frida stickers from the actual Frida, from Frida's house, right, Anne? Oh my gosh, I can't wait to show those off. I'll show them off next week in Daily Heart. Okay, all right, I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to look at Megan Quinlan's stamps again and her stencils, because guess what? She sent me stencils. So I got to fix the lighting. Give me just a second. We'll get the lighting readjusted here. Sorry, the lighting in my studio is crazy and not really the best all the time. So hopefully that's not too glary. Yeah, these socks. Oh my gosh. I wish I could show you both socks. They are Bombas, and they were from the Sesame Street collection, and they are my favorite socks. They are super cute. They're not really Sesame Street. They're like Sesame Street representative. I don't know if all of you saw that Bombas collection, but they're pretty fun. All right, so I had to take a sip of coffee. Yes, I am a late afternoon coffee drinker, especially on cold days. So forgive me. Okay, and also I want to tell you, we are having, yes, her stencils are fantastic, but I will tell you that I am not very much of a stencil person. So this is going to be fun to see me just play with stencils in the only, the ways that I know how. Anyway, and so for those of you who missed well, you know what? I'm really bummed out, because I will tell you something. I don't have all of my samples anymore, because I do a lot of goodie bags and boxes and things, and mystery moonbeam packs and things like that. And so I ended up sending a lot of my samples away in little packages. Okay, so we're kind of starting fresh, and that's the fun. I love to make things. I sell them, I give them away, I share them. And so I make other makeys out of them. I don't know how many of you had a chance to see this stencil, and I thought we would, not stencil, this sample. And I thought we could maybe recreate it a little bit. This is, I turned it into a Rolodexy because, again, for those of you who follow along and are familiar with what we're doing over here, not only in ArtFoamies, but in my Patreon, we are doing a lot of Rolodex art, and we call it Rolodexies. And so this was a really fun sample that I incorporated Megan's, one of her seekers, in with one of 100 Proof Presses ArtFoamies. So we're going to do one of those. Yes, Amy says, just got her stencils off Etsy. They're amazing. I've been playing with them all day. Can't wait to get her foamies in the mail. Happy day when I get my ArtFoamies box. Thank you. I have to tell you all, I love when you all share your excitement about getting your ArtFoamies. And I, of course, love when you share your makeys. So please keep them coming. Make sure you tag us, okay? And yeah, we're going to have a little ArtFoamy fun now. I don't know how many of you also saw when we did the demo. This is our freebie for the month of March. And I know there was also a mistake somewhere in our emails or something. It said February, but this is the March freebie. One per person per purchase. And while supplies last, usually they do last all month. But anyway, it fits great with her people. So I was so excited about that. And I'm looking forward to, I want to try it. So this is one of her stencils, and I'm dying to try it with this stencil. The only thing is, you know what? Sadly, I'm not sure where I put my stamp of the month. So hold on. I had, of course, you know me, I had it here and then I cleaned up and now it seems to be missing. So, oh, here it is. Okay, good. There it is. There's our little, it's a Claudia. Okay. And it represents love, loyalty, and friendship. And it's perfect for the month of March. And again, the size and scale just really fit really well with her foamies. And it seems like also with her stencils. I think that's going to be really cool together. So we'll try that. We'll do a couple little makeys. And I did tell her, I said, I'm going to play with your stencils just a little bit. So let's go ahead. And I actually am dying to try these mushrooms. And so, you know what? I'm going to get a piece of watercolor paper. And I think for this one, I am going to use, so let's try some watercolor pencils. I do have Inktense here. Actually, it's a mixture. I have some Inktense and I have my Stabilos, which I do want you to know, Stabilos are not really colored pencils per se. Stabilo Alls, I don't know how many of you are familiar with these, but they are mark making pencils, which are great for a number of surfaces, but they are also water soluble. So I do use them, you know, quite often, sort of mixing and matching. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Hot Red. Let's take Hot Red. This is a Derwent Inktense. And I do love to use watercolor pencils with my stencils because you get that control that's, you know, nice to have with your stencils. And yet you can also do fun stuff like, you know, fill in little details, and of course you can watercolor them because, you know, because they're water soluble, right? Let's switch up the color. Let's do a little a little olivey green. And this one is a Prismacolor pencil. Prismacolor water soluble pencil. I just want to clarify that. Ooh, Patty, thank you so much. Patty's Vintage Shop says, remember to hit the like button. So thanks for the reminder, because you know what? If you were not here reminding me, I would still forget. I really do. And you know, we've had a YouTube channel for, you know, many years, but it was only recently that, as many of you know, that I started doing the ArtFoamies Fun Fridays here on YouTube rather than on Facebook. So I do forget. All right, I'm just going to keep going. I want to do a little, I don't know, a little sort of, I guess, scene maybe. I don't know. I'm just having fun, to be honest, because that is what we're here for, right? A little ArtFoamies fun. And we'll throw some stencils in too. Megan is not here this evening, but I just want to say thank you again to Megan for her beautiful artwork and for these stencils too. And just like with stamps, you know, I'm going to want to sort of fill these in and make them my own. I think that's one reason why oftentimes I just shy away from stencils as much, is just because of those bridges. So I just need to learn to fill them in and sort of make them my own, the same way I do with many stamps, changing up details and, you know, just having fun with it that way. Yeah, this would be great in a journal. And many of you know I've been doing a lot. Actually, I should pull out my journal and do a couple pages in the journal using these, because I have been doing a lot of journaling for 100-day project using mostly ArtFoamies, but hey, you know, I'm not opposed to the stencils. It's just that I am not as, you know, proficient in stencils as a lot of my artsy counterparts. I am, for this one, I think I'm going to try, instead of this one, since it's a little bit, I don't know, it has a little bit more of a floppy edge, which makes it a little bit harder to trace. I think I am going to just use my Scrap Buddy and a little bit of, let's try this stuff. I have this on my desk and I love this color. This is Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant Watercolor Concentrates. Now, they're more like a dye-based watercolor. They're not necessarily light fast or, artist grade, but I do still love them. They're great for journaling, great if you want to do reproductions, and still really fun colors. So I do still like to use them, and I am going to just use my Scrap Buddy and a little of that watercolor right through the stencil. And try to pounce it. If you feel like your stencil is going to be coming up, then I'll try to pounce it rather than try to run color under there, because you won't get a very crisp edge if you get a lot of, color up underneath your Mylar. And of course, it's kind of fun too. You can do, and I love the look of that. You can do a little layering as well, right over the top of your watercolor pencil. So again, you saw me color that in with a little olive green watercolor pencil. I'm just going to go right back over the top and give it a little smush. You could also just, kind of get a little bit of water on your Scrap Buddy, and maybe with a little spritz, okay, a little spritz of water. That over there, and kind of smush it around. And again, that's one of the nice things about the water soluble pencil. You can move it a little bit and you'll get some nice, coloration that way. I don't know if you can see that very well. And let me know if the lighting looks okay. Let me turn on the overhead light too. One second. I know this lighting in my studio, I've mentioned it multiple times. It's just really, really bad. That's a little bit better, hopefully. So Dee says, what do you mean by light fast? So what I mean by that is that if certain types of inks and certain types of paints are not light fast, they will fade in the light. So they're not archival. Okay, so lots of dye-based products, dye-based inks and things like that are not light fast. So you would not necessarily want to paint a painting or do something that you were going to sell or hang in, in a lit room, or especially something with sunlight. So Megan is here. Megan Quinlan, welcome. Yes, we're here. I am showing off your stencils. We're talking about your stencils, and I'm just having a little bit of play before I go back to the ArtFoamies. And thanks for coming on. Thanks for being here. So excited to see you. We love them, and we're so excited to have another weekend with them. Woohoo! Anyway, so here again, I can line that back up if I want or need to mask over it for any reason. But I think, with something like this now, since I have my outline, I can just take, a watercolor brush and a little smush of watercolor, or anything. I could go back in with more pencils, but I think I'm just going to get some watercolors. Megan, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so Catherine says light fast means they will not fade. So when I say they're not light fast, then that means they have a probability of fading, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and, I don't know what color I want to do. Maybe a little bit, of just, I have this, what color is this called? Titan Buff. Do a little Titan Buff watercolor right there. Not that exciting of a color, but it'll mix nicely with that red. And I think give me kind of just a fun end result, okay? Again, just using a little regular watercolor and going right over the top of the little shroom that I outlined using Megan's stencil. And again, I will share. Megan, feel free if you have free hands right now to type in your Etsy shop link for your stencils. I want to make sure that everybody can go check them out. And I want to thank you again for letting us have your pop-up for another weekend, giving everybody a chance to, you know, get their hands on your ArtFoamies. All right, so liking the way that's looking. And the same with these little shrooms over here. Maybe I want to, pump up that color a little bit more. I think I'm going to take a little of that Titan Buff and go over the tops of these as well. And a little Titan Buff back over here. Why not? So I hope it is always my greatest hope. I just want you to know that you look forward to ArtFoamy Fun as much as I do, and that you don't just watch me, that you actually get out your ArtFoamies or your stencils or your favorite art materials, and that you play along and get makey with me. It's the best thing to do on a Friday night if you're not, going out to party on the town. All right, and I'm using a little chromium green oxide now, I think, because I just want to give a few more little details just for fun. Bernadette, welcome. Nice to see you. I've been thinking about you and hoping you're having a great week. And then you know what I think I'm going to do? One thing that I think will look nice is to sort of do another... I don't know if I should flip that. Hold on, I'm going to clean this off a little bit. Use a baby wipe to clean my stencil off. And kind of want to put another, a little bit darker one in the front. So let me get a little bit darker of a color. Oh goodness, I don't know. A darker green. Hold on, I'm gonna have to grab a darker green. Oh, well, I'm not going to lie. This isn't really the green that I want, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Again, I am using the Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant Watercolor Concentrates. I'm going to squeeze just a little bit right over the top of my Scrap Buddy, the same green I was using. It's fine. And I'm going to just go and kind of mimic that in the front a little bit. Again, I'm going to use the pouncing method. Hopefully we'll keep it a little bit crisper of a line. And I do manage, usually, see I even got a little fingerprint there. I do usually manage to screw them up somehow, but it's okay. You can also use your Derwent sticks for this. I don't know how many of you have seen me like wet my scrap buddies and then use my Derwent sticks to apply color. That is another great way to run, you know, color like that through your stencil. And you see me a little bit struggling because I'm not really putting a lot of paint on my scrap buddy. I probably should be a little more generous, but I'd rather keep it a little drier. Again, just so that, plus, I guess I'm just not getting much out of this, but, you know, just so it doesn't bleed through a lot. Anyway, mixing colors is nice. You can get some really nice gradients. And really, really nice. Do really love these stencils. And of course, I'm all about those mushrooms. Oh, love those. We'll clean this off and I'll just put a little extra color here. And then of course, I just want to stamp her right there. I might go up a little higher. So I'm going to take, you've seen me do this. This is not a new wrinkle. Well, she does have a little color on her. I don't know what I have on there. That might be a little, yes, I have a little Derwent. I think a little Derwent magenta, as you can see. So I'm going to clean some of that off. Not all of it. It's okay. And then I'm going to spritz it. And I'm going to go ahead with my graphite stick. Okay, so my Lyra graphite. I don't mind that I have a little bit of sort of color still left on there. If some of that shows through, it'll be okay. You know, I think I'm going to mask this line off just a little bit because I don't know that I want it to have a line right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my Post-it note and I'm going to put it over. I'm going to put it right there. And that way my line won't stamp. Okay, so she can have a little bit taller of a body. Let's go up here a little bit. Yes, Cindy, such a cute idea. Yes, Bernadette, many years ago, okay, many years ago, before we took over ArtFoamies, back when Emmy owned it, in the beginning, they did come with stamp buddies, yes, but she had actually stopped that before we bought it, but it was kind of like not that long before. So I think most people still, I don't know, thought that they did, but they don't anymore. Yeah, I don't mind when it bleeds out a little bit, Heather. You know, again, depending on what I'm doing, right? So, of course, you know, many of you, again, know that I love watercolor so, so much. And, you know, quite often use my watercolors with, you know, with my ArtFoamies, with stencils, with whatever. But it kind of depends on, you know, what I'm doing, I guess. Looking for a black Stabilo right now because I feel like that will match the line quality the best. So I can sort of just fill that in. And I can go ahead and bring that line down. Okay. And so now she is in her little secret garden, and I can just, have so much fun continuing to fill in, fill this in. And you know what, now I do sort of wish that I had started this in my journal, but of course, it could be like a maquette, which is just a maquette is a small sort of plant, pre-planning painting. If you're going to do a painting, a lot of times you'll do a small maquette as your sort of warm up or your, idea, your inspiration or whatever. So, yeah, I definitely think this would be a great journal page in my 9x12 journal. And so I think I could definitely keep going. And, she has all this other beautiful imagery. I think this tree would look beautiful in the background. These journal spots, I don't know if you can see them, but I love them all. And there's so many more. Pull out a couple of the other ones that she sent me. Oh, I love these flowers and some more faces. Oh my gosh, so cute. And they, of course, they all will go together or mix and match. Coordinate, I guess I should say. I love, here's one with a crow and some clouds. So super fun. A moon, which I love. Let's do a few of these back here. And for this, oh gosh, what I'm going to try? I think I'll just try a brush. I've been doing this for a while too. I used to do a little watercolor class with stencils many moons ago. And just run your watercolor straight through it. But, one of the things, you don't have very much control. So you do have to really watch the amount of water that you put on there. Otherwise, you just end up with these little puddles, which I think I might have, but that's okay. No, it's not too bad. And I have just a slight wash on that brush, but it's enough, I think, really to make a bit of difference. And then the nice thing about this, I think, is that you could really just take your wet, sort of thirsty brush and just give it a little smoosh. And you have great cloud cover there. Yeah, so super nice. I'm going to go ahead. I am going to just work on her face for just a little bit. I'm going to give her some little eyelids here and some eyebrows. And that is one of the fun things about all of these faces. And I say the same thing about my own faces, or really any stamp faces that I've ever worked with. It is just really great to be able to go in and, make it your own. Do what you want to do. Whether you want to have her smiling more, have her lips more full, have her eyes closed. I mean, there's just so many different ways you could play with that. Whether you want, dark hair, light hair, the options are just endless. So really, that is what I think makes it such a fun, creative process, is that once you get your hands on them and you ink them up the way that you want to, the sky is the limit, okay? So you've seen me many times, just make these things my own and color them in various ways. but I will tell you that the size, one of the things that I really love in Megan's ArtFoamies is the sizes of her figures, and just that they really have such an expressive quality, whether or not you change them up. Does that make sense? So you can leave them really as is if you're just, wanting to kind of one and done, or if you want to take time and really embellish and, paint and get all mixed media on it, then you can. And you know me, I love a rosy cheek. So let's go ahead and put a little soft pink in those cheeks. I want to make her hair a little more blue. So I'm going to take an indigo blue and just go right over that graphite stamping. Okay, it gives, the nice thing about putting that base layer down is that it gives you just that, a really nice dark value base layer to work on. Oops, got a little blue in her cheek. What do? Get a thirsty brush and pull that back. All right. So just have fun with that. I'm going to give her a pink headband just because I just feel like she should have a pink headband. A little more pink in the cheeks too. Monica, thanks for coming. Nice to see you. Yes, I know a few people, because I've been off and I keep saying off, but since I haven't been doing my daily hearts this week, I think a lot of people were not sure. So that's why we did, send out a newsletter just to make sure that y'all could find me. And I do think I would probably mirror this over here, do a little bit more sky over here. And then again, I realize this is not necessarily in a journal, although I could just glue this into my journal too and do some fun things around it. I think this would make a great journal spot. Okay. Also, of course, if you want to turn it into a greeting card, just do it a little bit. Well, you could, just move it over a little bit more, fold it in half, and then, say thinking of you or something like that. I think it's such again, versatile stamp. I know that if you follow Megan, which I'm sure almost everybody here does, and if you don't, then you should. She teaches in fodder school, and lots of ideas on how to use all these little bits, and cut them out and use them in your artwork in various ways. Many of you know that we're doing Rolodexes. I'm going to set this aside. That is one way that I love to use all my little, now I don't, I don't call my little pieces fodder. Well, actually I used to, and I was like, I didn't know anybody else really use that word, but I also like to call my little cutouts and my little pieces of art, because I do love small pieces of artwork that you can glue onto things, turn into greeting cards, put in your journal, your diary, this, that, and the other thing. I love now to add them to my Rolodex cards, because I have found it is such a wonderful way to collect and save, precious bits of business. That's what I like to call all my little pieces of artwork. So I have been, just making sort of these sturdy cards and putting a couple Rolodex punches or cutouts at the bottom, and saving them and collecting them and trading them that way. So I hope that many of you are doing this too. And in one way or another, I know lots of different groups online or doing Rolodex stuff. It's just a lot of fun. And I think for many of us here in this mixed media community, it is such a, you know, it's a great way to, you know, we all enjoy doing a lot of this stuff. So this is a great way to keep a lot of the pieces and also share them, you know, with and amongst your friends, trade them, etc., etc. And I know I've shared them with you, you know, a couple times here before, but I'm going to do this card for you, and we're going to call it a makey. Okay, so I'm going to get out a couple pieces of watercolor paper. Again, you can use mixed media paper. I do think something a little heavier is nice. Okay, so let me grab a piece of watercolor paper. All right, and I'm going to do this, for my 3x5 Rolodex, okay? So it's 5 inches across, and I did cut it about 5 inches tall as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp my 100 proof press. This is Phases of the Moon Art Foamy. Got to get it dry. I had just washed it, so it's a little bit wet, and I'm just going to go ahead and I say that, but then I'm going to spritz it again with a little bit of water, and again use my Lyra or Lyra graphite, water soluble graphite stick. And just so you know, we do carry these at artfoamies.com for those of you who might like to have one. It's a 9B, so it's the darkest graphite, okay? So keep that in mind when you're rubbing it on stuff. It's nice and dark, and it does, excuse me, does get a little smushy. Excuse me. Nancy Gray, I do not know. That's Murphy's Law, right? I'm here debating the best way to stamp this on here. I should have probably stamped it and then trimmed everything, but that's okay. We'll do it anyway. Stephanie Martin, hello. I just want to make sure I'm getting a nice, good, crisp, hopefully solid stamping. Okay. Pretty good. It was a little wet, but that's okay. I kind of like that. We'll let that dry. I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to get my seeker, and I'm going to stamp her. Just use this watercolor paper here. And again, I'm going to use my graphite. I do think that I have a little bit of blue. And you know what? She might be really fun to do in blue. If you're interested in seeing her in a blue color, we do have this stuff. And I'd love to hear from you if you have these. I want to hear if you love them, because I've really been enjoying them. I know I've shared them with you a few times here on ArtFoamies Fun. We have this nice Prussian blue. I think that's what it is. Dark Prussian. And it is the chunky extra large graphite from Derwent. And maybe, you know what, maybe I should have stamped this in blue and then her in the graphite. I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it one more time in the graphite, just so I can choose. I can always use that for something else if I change my mind. I kind of like the dark. Oops. Oh, no. Well, you know, I think you've seen that happen before, and actually, I don't hate that. I'm going to save both of those. We're going to try this again. It's got her face too wet. That's okay. Yes, Terry, have you tried them on the ArtFoamies? I'm so excited to see what you do with them. And I will say, so this does look smushy, but I still could paint that and get it pretty nice. Okay, I think I am going to use the blue, and I am going to take my dark blue Stabilo, and just sort of fill in a little bit. But first I have to find my dark blue Stabilo. There it is. I just have some, but have not played yet. So yes, tips would be one. If you're going to do the rubbing method, like I shared with you a couple weeks ago, make sure that, or like this, make sure that you use thinner paper. It's actually this one here. I did the rubbing. And I don't know, just, you know, you need to get just the right amount of wetness, because obviously I didn't. And you know what? I do feel like I just wanted a little bit darker. So I might go ahead and stamp her one more time. Again, all of these are not fails, okay? They're just not as dark as I would like to have right now. So it's, you know, I'll still save all these and work on them and use them in other, you know, in other projects. Just want to try to get a darker stamping without all that smush on her face. Even though I feel like I could, yeah, there we go. 4 times is a charm. Okay, so for her, okay, I did go in, and I'll just use my graphite Stabilo all here. I did some modifications on her face. I gave her a little bit softer of a line on her bottom lip. I gave her a little bit of eyelid on the tops of her eyes here, and a little bit of an underline also underneath her eyes. Okay, I also, if you notice those lines on her chin and her forehead, I turned them into stars. And then I also did take a white paint pen and I did the little doodles in her halo, or her hair. And then I did take a little bit of a wet brush, not a lot, because as you can see, it's still mostly black and white. I gave a little bit of color to the cheeks, just the slightest bit of magenta. And if I did get a little squish of the graphite, I didn't care. Okay, it was okay. I kind of like that sort of colorized look. It almost looks like a black and white, you know, photo where you've done a little bit of the sort of, you know, colorizing. And then I just took a little bit of water on my brush and I gave some little sort of shadows and gave her a little bit of nostrils there. And, you know, there was a little bit of smushy graphite there, so I am also going to give a little bit of shadow, almost like to half of her face and to underneath her chin on her neck. Okay, so, and then I can continue to go back in and do a bit of that. In the meantime, I am going to take my white paint pen. Carmen, nice to see you. Michelle, welcome. Yeah, we're here just having a little art foamy fun. Using Megan stamps again because if you all had a chance to see the newsletter, we did go ahead and re-release for another weekend. All right, so here I am going to again use my white paint pen. Even also a little white gesso on your brush will work if you're if you feel your paint pen might be a little big. Sometimes it seems a little giant, but it still works. I just put a little sort of the iris color, around, leaving her a little bit of dark there for the pupil. And then again, excuse me, going in and giving her some phases on her phases of the moon here on her little hat. And again here too, if you want to. I don't know, you can put stars, whatever you want. It's just... Then I also did some, whatever, just a little doodads on her shirt you can use and do some doodling. Again, I'm going to take my wet brush and do a little smushing for, again, that little bit of value. I think I'm going to take, just a little bit of dark, I don't know, I could take a little darker black watercolor right on my brush and just give her a little darker lines in her eyes. Again, just for darker, deeper values. I'm going to do the same thing kind of in her hair. Again, with that indigo blue. And I do feel I could keep kind of messing with this for a while. I'm not, but I do want to put maybe just a little bit of darker underneath her eyes. Give her the smoky eye. Anyway, so, there you have it. I'm going to cut her out. And again, so, one of the kind of fun things about doing stuff like this, if I wanted to make, say, a whole slew of Rolodex cards or whatever, greeting cards, whatever I'm doing, I can sit and stamp these out and color them in all different ways and cut them out, and have all these little bits of business ready to go, ready to mount. And I did this by lining her halo or her hair, the top of her head, whatever, up with this circle. And so that the little words around it, you could still read. But of course, if you wanted to cut this down even lower, I could cut that top line off, whatever. So it really just depends. Now this one, I did not punch, through a double thickness. So I probably, if I want to do that, then I'll probably punch this one. Let's see here. So I punch right into her, and then I'm going to punch right into this one. And then I will line them up when I glue it. Well, I didn't line it up perfectly, but you get the idea. It's still okay. It still worked out all right, but I don't know what I was thinking. I'm horrible when it comes to like doing that measuring. So now it's a little bit off, but you get the idea. And it's going to stick up in my roll. Oh, I do want to trim this side off a little bit too. Darn it. And then I also, one thing I do love doing with these is use my little corner rounder, making it look all profesh. Yes, I will. I'll show it to you in just 1 second. Thanks for asking. I'm so excited. And I hope that anybody who is following along, just even on ArtFoamies, even if you're not like one of my patrons or whatever, it's fine. Please just tag your stuff Rolodexy so that we can, you know, just make that hashtag, you know, be jumping. Okay. So we're going to be doing it all year long. And I think it's really fun. Also, I do think I'd like to maybe do something down here. I don't know what, maybe just some, I don't know. I'll figure it out later, but it doesn't really matter because again, you know, when it's just peeking up through the Rolodex, and I have to admit to you, I have quite a few Rolodex holders. Okay. I started sort of a collection. So, hold on 1 second. Let me pull it down here. Now I have this is my vintage one, and it's a big boy. It's a 3x5. Okay. So, and it's nice because it does have, if you can see this, it does have this little stand, okay, in the bottom that I can pull out, and it props it up. So it will stand, or it will set this way if I want to be able to, you know, if you want to be able to open it and view it almost more like a journal, you could do your cards and things going this way. I don't have it sort of oriented that way, okay? I keep it setting like this, and so that you can see it like this, all right? And so as you can see, I do have, you know, my months. So I'm at least trying to keep my months sort of, you know, not necessarily in order, but like whatever I make in January can go in the January tab, you know, so on and so forth. What's happened? This is March right here. So been putting things I've been making for March. We've been doing a lot of mandalas. So I got mandala March. Obviously, Megan's will go in March because, you know, that's when, not only when I made this, but when her stamps launched, or, you know, when we had her pop up. So stuff like that. It's just really fun. And again, I love the opportunity. Now, again, mine is, you know, an open Rolodex. You can still find them on, you know, eBay and Etsy and Mercari. I got mine, a couple of mine on Mercari. So, anyway, it does not have a top, you know, so I can make my cards as tall as I want. Again, just as a reminder, there's a lot of different sizes. Okay. And the differences between in the cards, is significant. Okay. So I just want to make sure you know that. If you have any other questions or thoughts, of course, you know where I am. You know how to find me. I am going to pull this last stencil out because I want to show you. I did do a little something ahead of time. I don't know how well it worked out, and I don't know how many of you have done this, but I did take a little bit of masking fluid. Okay. A little bit of liquid they call it Frisket, liquid masking fluid. And I put it on a scrap buddy. Okay. And I ran it through the stencil. This is Megan. I don't know the name of this one, but it's her girl with, you know, sort of looks very similar to a lot of her ArtFoamy girls. So I thought it would be a fun one to experiment with. So Now the masking fluid is dry. Okay, it never really dries fully. It stays kind of sticky. It's kind of like a rubber cement, if you will, like a thin rubber cement. So that has those lines there. And I'm going to now take some watercolor and run it over the top. Now it's probably, let's see, where did I just stick my brush? Let's see here. Let's go ahead. Taking a little bit of burnt sienna and putting that on the face and neck. And then I'm just going to take, oh, what colors do I want to do here? Well, I'll just do navy blue. Because I'm dying to use some of Megan's motifs with these stencil girls. Also, a lot of Megan's goddess bodies or goddess girl. I don't know if she calls them that, but Megan, what do you call? Let's see. I'm going to grab one of those other stencils. So these, oh my gosh, go so great. I don't know how many of you have some of these foamies, my KP figure foamies. This one is called Heart Space, and they match so great with these. You could really, I am so excited to try these together. I cannot wait. One of the things I am going to love is that I can elongate these bodies a little bit and that they're going to have really fun hair shapes. It's so crazy because I love making, I know many of you have seen me make these goddess figures using this art foamy, and I think they'll just go so great together. I cannot wait to experiment with that. So here I also did the same thing. I did stamp one of Megan's motifs using her little art foamy, where did I put it? The little scallop, this guy. And I stamped some of the masking fluid as well, just to see, I want to see those results. So the thing is about masking fluid that you should know, you want to make sure that it is 100% dry before you apply paint over the top. And then when you remove your paint, you want to make sure that your paint is 100% dry before you remove the masking fluid. Okay, does that make sense? Everything needs to be dry or it will not work and it will not be successful. The other thing is that can be a little bit tricky is the kind of paper that you use. Now I will tell you, I used a student grade watercolor paper for this experiment or for this example. I am not 100% sure that it is not going to take the paper with it. Generally, in my experience using masking fluid, your paper quality is important. Okay, so that's just my 2 cents for tonight in regards to masking fluid. All right, but you can see what's going to happen is that the masking fluid, okay, is going to resist, it's going to repel and resist all the color and all the water, so that it's going to leave when the paint is fully dry and I remove the masking fluid, it's going to leave the white of the paper wherever the masking fluid was solid. Sometimes, if you can kind of see this, you'll have little breaks in your masking fluid where it maybe looks a little speckled. You will not have as clean of a line underneath. Okay, so we're going to give this a go and we're going to see how that looks. The other kind of cool thing, if you have masking fluid on your stencil, okay, yes, don't, Cindy Sharp, good comment. Thank you. Don't leave it on for weeks. You You really should remove it as soon as the paint is dry. Okay, it is hard to remove and stains the paper, especially if you have a masking fluid that has a little bit of coloration to it. Some Friscuits have like a little bit of color so that you can see it, okay? See where it's placed. But what I will tell you is if you have a little bit of masking fluid on your stencil, what happens is it causes it to be a little bit gummy or a little bit sticky. I like to turn that around and use that, okay? It kind of will help bond with your paper just a little bit so that when you do run stuff through your stencil again, it sort of helps resist, you know, on your, does that make sense? So, and it's not a foolproof method, okay, but it's nice. Oftentimes if I want that little bit of traction with my stencil, okay, I will use a little bit of masking fluid on the back of my stencil. Yes, it does work. Yes, masking fluid also will work with gesso and acrylics. Yes. Actually, I kind of like it with acrylics because acrylics dry faster. So, you know, that's kind of nice too. Anyway, where's your brush? We'll run this back through. Again, doing more, almost like a little more staining, trying not to get it too wet because I still just don't want a lot of squish underneath my stencil there necessarily. And for this, I may even just do a little bit of graphite. I just rubbed a little bit of my brush on my graphite stick right there, just so I can have a little, again, more of a staining of color, hopefully. And if I do feel like I get it too squishy, you can always blot right through that too. And again, I didn't get much coloration on her eyes and lips and face, but it should be enough to still see. And we'll go for a little Payne's gray for this. Aha, so nice. So now I am going to, because I said I was going to, I'm going to just take the little Clawda, and we will, let's see, we'll load that up with a little, debating, I guess I'll just use this again. Megan, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. I really appreciate you so much. And I will talk to you this coming week. Tell your littles thanks for sharing their mama with us. And I'll talk to you soon and see you soon. Oh, I did not get a very good stamping on that either because I will not lie to you. My Clawda is a little crusty. I did let some paint dry on there, I think. So yeah, thanks again for coming, Megan. All right, I got a little better stamping on that one. So let's go ahead and we're gonna squish this out a little. We'll play with this and then I'll let you all go so you can go and have your own art foamy fun without me. I am again going to just use my Stabilo for and let's use a little black for some of the details in her face. It's kind of nice because that little bit of wash, okay, does give you that nice little base layer and kind of shadow. Sorry. So it needs to be sharpened. I was trying to be lazy and not sharpen it, but I don't have another sharpened one, so. And you know, kind of the cool thing about doing this with the stencils too, if I want to elongate her body, of course I can just, oops, let me turn this back around, just hold that there and kind of bring that down a little bit. Oops, not lined up very well, but you'll get the idea. Okay, and that way she's not just cut off there. And then, of course, just continue to finish painting in. I think you could kind of already tell where I was going with that hairdo. I really wanted to give her rainbow hair. And the nice thing is, too, if you want to go back in and, you know, use your stencil to put in a few more lines, you can do that too, but I'm just going to And of course, you know, it looks a little awkward right now, but as I get that more filled in, she'll really be beautiful. Even those little dark washes will just add to, you know, to the shadows on her face, and I think that'll be really, really nice. I'll go in and add a little squish of color on this. And of course, as you know, I will finish, you know, finish what I can and share pictures on the ArtFoamies page and on ArtFoamies Fun. And if you have any thoughts or questions or, you know, just really anything in general, whether it's to do with ArtFoamies or just makeys in general, you know where to find me. I'll be back at it this week. No more time off for me. That was a joke. Anyway, yeah, so I hope you have enjoyed this ArtFoamies Fun as much as I have, and that you learn a thing or two. I think I am going to go ahead and put another little layer of color on here and try to finish her up, because I'm not going to be able to take this off for you now, because I do want to sort of see it through, and I will remove this, okay? Once this is all painted and good and dry, and maybe, you know what, maybe this might be dry enough right here for me to just show you a little bit. Now, normally I would take, and I don't know if I have one here. Let me see if I have it. It's called a rubber cement pickup. I usually keep one around. I don't see one here right now. Let's see. Shoot, I don't know where I put it, but anyway, it's a rubber cement pickup. It looks kind of like a gummy eraser kind of, and that will help. You can do a little bit with your finger, but honestly, if it's very much, it will start to hurt your finger. So I really recommend the rubber cement pickup, and then it just sort of makes really quick work of it, and it will peel all this away, and you get like these little fun pieces of rubbery stuff. And you can just sort of roll it. It'll pick up on itself, okay? And you can peel away all your little bits of masking film, and it's going to leave you with the beautiful whites of the paper. Or Okay. You can also, me too, Stephanie, me too. You can also put this over color if your color's dry. So if you have something that you painted and you want to cover that up, you can, as long as it's dry, then you can cover it with your masking film and use it again as a mask. And then you can stamp or stencil or paint, you know, let everything dry and then peel it off. So you're just doing those layers, 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 right? I think this is dry now too. And you can kind of get the idea, okay? And of course, maybe I'll leave some of this here just so you can see I could still continue. Okay, now if it's wet, it will mess up because that wet will make it smear. You don't want that, so you need to really make sure it's dry. You can also do stuff like, you know, add more layers of color. The deeper that your values of your paper are, the more the white is going to stand out, right? So it doesn't work as well if you're using it with real pale colors, okay? So here I'll just put one more little quick layer of dark, and then later, okay, see how dark I'm making that? Later, when I peel that off, I'll share a picture and you'll see what I mean. So of course, you can keep layering over your masking film until you get the depth that you want. Let that dry, and then you can peel it off. All right, so that's it for tonight, my friends. We had lots of Art Foamy fun. I hope you get your hands on some of Megan's Art Foamies, of course, while you can, because after this weekend, they're really gone for good, okay? Thank you again to Megan. Thank you to all of you. Make sure you go and check out her stencils. And I love you all to the moon and back. Thank you for hanging out with me on this fabulous Friday. And for those of you who are my Moonies, I'll see you tomorrow for Super Sculpey Saturday. And I hope you all have a great, wonderful, makey weekend. All right? Mwah. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye.